have a very robust agenda today. It's going to be a very impactful day, and that's why we're so excited that you've set aside time to join us. I'm going to proceed right into our agenda. We do have a robust agenda, and we have some amazing speakers today. Dr. Richard Daniel was appointed president of South Mountain Community College in November of 2022. In this role, he is responsible for the overall leadership and direction of one of the most diverse colleges in the Maricopa County Community College District. Immediately prior to being appointed as president at SMCC, Dr. Daniel served as the executive vice president and chief operating officer of Education Forward Arizona, where his responsibilities included identifying partnership and fundraising opportunities for organizational growth and impact, developing and executing strategic operational planning and program work planning, and ensuring that programmatic and operational administrative budgets aligned with organizational priorities. Before Education Forward Arizona, Dr. Daniel served as Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer at College Success Arizona, where he worked to bring transformative opportunities of higher education to students from underserved and underrepresented communities in Arizona. Throughout his career, Dr. Daniel has tirelessly advocated for expanding access to educational opportunities that empower individuals, families, and communities. Servant leadership has been the guiding principle of Dr. Daniel's efforts, during which he has prioritized developing and supporting teams that maximize individual and organizational strengths for the benefit of those they serve. Born in the mining community of Superior, Arizona, Dr. Daniel experienced firsthand the transformative power of higher education, earning his PhD in educational leadership and policy studies, as well as his master's degree in higher education administration and his bachelor's degree in exercise science from Arizona State University. Can you please put your hands together and help me welcome Dr. Richard Daniel to the microphone?
Good morning. How are we doing this morning? Well, that was a generous introduction, so hopefully I can live up to my few comments with that introduction. First of all, I want to thank you all for being here. I think one of the important pieces when I look into the audience today, there's an amazing group of people here who are empowered to make a difference in the lives of women and the difference of advocating leadership and providing support for them. One of the things that I'm proud of serving as the president here is that we were able to bring people back into our community at South Mountain Community College. So I welcome you to campus today. I hope it's an amazing day. You're in a facility here that we've had a lot of events lately, and we're seeing more and more of that. And it's great to have people back on campus. I think it's the pandemic, offered opportunities where we didn't have a chance to work hand in hand with people and see the difference that we all make. So today was a great day for me to walk on campus and see, we're in between sessions. Summer session starts in about a week. So we're now seeing people here doing other things. We've had a lot of activity this week. So I really appreciate your being here. I would like to recognize one of our own who's on the Phoenix Women's Commission. First, I'd like to recognize all of the members for your work. So the members of the Phoenix Commission, if you'd please stand to be recognized. Phoenix Women's Commission. We have one of our own, Maria Bailey Benson, who serves as one of our resident faculty members in business, but also as the incoming chair for the division of MyCTL. So I want to recognize her for her service, not only to our campus, but to the Women's Commission. So I would like to leave you with this today. Today you have an amazing agenda. There's a lot of opportunities. I was looking at the topics and looking at what you're going to be able to hear from some of the great speakers that you'll be able to speak with and share their stories, and then you share yours. But more importantly, it's the opportunity to go out and then make a difference. I was talking to vendors this morning. The work that people are doing in their organizations is impacting and transforming lives. And that's what you get to do. You get to be able to take that with you and advocate for that opportunity. So I wish you the best day today. It's going to be a little warmer. You had a great weather this morning outside. It'll be a little warmer today. but make sure that you take full advantage. We have an amazing campus. If you want to explore it on another day, I'm sure Maria will make time for you to come back to campus and get a tour of some of our amazing facilities. So thank you for being here, and I really appreciate that. Take care. Have a great day.
Thank you, Dr. Daniel, for hosting us. This is an amazing campus, and so we absolutely enjoy being here and our relationship. Mayor Kate Gallego has a vision for Phoenix. She sees it as a place that is vibrant and growing, and one where every person is treated with dignity and respect. Mayor Gallego is a strong advocate for smart business growth and investment. She recently helped land the city's largest ever business development deal, a $40 billion semiconductor manufacturing plant that will bring significant economic development for decades to come. She is leading the city to global status as a leader in bioscience technology, research, and advanced manufacturing. The mayor is also leading Phoenix to meet its goal to become the most sustainable desert city in the United States. She has fostered investments in cool solutions, including the nation's first publicly funded Office of Heat Response and Mitigation launched the city's successful cool pavement pilot, and led the charge toward building the necessary EV infrastructure to support a sustainable future. Mayor Gallego is the second elected female mayor in Phoenix history and one of the youngest big city mayors in the United States. In November 2020, she was returned to office with the highest number of votes ever cast for a mayoral candidate in Phoenix. A graduate of Harvard University, she earned an MBA from the Wharton School of Business at the University of Pennsylvania. She was elected to the Phoenix City Council in 2013, representing South Phoenix and the city's downtown core. Prior professional pursuits include strategic planning and economic development for one of Arizona's largest utility companies and service in state government. As part of the governor's team, Mayor Kate Gallego enjoys a desert hike and a good read. She is a mom to 6-year-old Michael. Please put your hands together and help me welcome to the stage Mayor Kate Gallego.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Irby, for that fabulous introduction. It is a pleasure to be with you here today. And welcome to the largest city in the United States with a female mayor and female city council majority. Since we last convened, we have also added a lot of statewide elected officials who are women, and we are really leading the way. It is so exciting, from Governor Hobbs to Attorney General Chris Mays. We have a lot of women working hard on behalf of Arizona, and it's worth celebrating. It is certainly not something that was always the case, and it's thanks to the work of so many people in this room that women have an equal shot in this community. So thank you for the work that you are all doing. I want to thank South Mountain Community College for hosting us yet again. This event has become a wonderful tradition in our city, and it's so good to be back here. Thank you to President Daniel for welcoming us and for our many partnerships. The community colleges have done so much for our city, and particularly on helping people get higher wages. They have been our key partner. We have two great programs, well, many great programs with the community college, but two I might highlight today. One is our Route to Relief program, where we are hoping particularly for parents, especially single parents, to help provide the support they need to go pursue higher wage careers. This program, Route to Relief, can help with free tuition, transportation costs, and childcare costs, and has been a great program during the COVID era to try to help people who were deeply impacted by the downturn pursue higher wage jobs. I want to highlight one graduate, a mom of 3, Riley, who served in our military and was trying to figure out her next career. She was able to get a semiconductor quick start certificate and is now making more than she has ever in her life. When moms make more, we know that kids also benefit, that there's a multi-generational impact, and that's something we want to celebrate. So if you know anyone out there who might benefit, let's do. Another great program with our community colleges is our Promise program, and we're working to make sure that our young people have a chance to go to college. So we are trying to push on a pathway towards free community college for our Phoenix residents. If you are visiting us from Mesa, there is a similar program there. So just the two examples of the work our community colleges are doing to make sure we all have economic opportunity. That is relevant to this group because one of our group's goals of the Phoenix Women's Commission is to try to close the pay gap. We want to make sure that men and women who do equal work receive equal pay, and the Phoenix Women's Commission helped us develop an ordinance at the City of Phoenix where we're really trying to push to close that pay gap, and you'll get to learn more about that later today. We at the city are hoping to be a great employer for all folks, including women, and one thing we just did that was very exciting and came from some of the recommendations of an earlier Phoenix Women's Commission is dramatically expanding paid leave. So the city now provides up to 12 weeks of paid leave for the birth, adoption, or foster care placement of a child during a 12-month period. It's one of the most generous parental leave packages offered by any local government agency. And it's working. It's helping us recruit and retain a highly skilled and productive workforce. We know that parents are some of the most dedicated and results-oriented individuals. If you want something done, a busy mom can often deliver in a big way. And we are glad to support parents being great employees and involved with their kids. We are also looking at how we pay employees and are going to do, we just did a 9% increase in compensation, and it's a lot based on your tenure, so we believe it does work where if you're not as good at salary negotiations, first you should go to Phoenix Women's Commission training, but also consider Phoenix City employment because we have these programs where we think that it's more based on your service to the city and not how well you negotiate. For some of you who've been at this event for a long time, you know before running for office, in my first job, did not negotiate my first paycheck and then later found out that everyone in my department was making far more than I do. So don't be like me and do negotiate for your worth and lean into the Phoenix Women's Commission's resources to help us, again, close that pay gap. Hopefully Phoenix can lead the way as a city with so many incredible women, including our very strong city council. It is remarkable that we have both a women majority and a mom majority on the city council. There are many cities who have never even elected a female mayor. Los Angeles just elected their first woman in the 150-year history of the city, but Phoenix has been recently on the way and leading. For me, it was a real question when I decided whether or not to run for mayor, how voters would react to a woman. At the time I was making my decision, none of the 15 largest cities in the country had a single woman in the mayor's office. And so you ask yourself, is there something where voters really just prefer a male mayor? And I'll be honest, I had not lived in a city that had elected a female mayor, so when I picture what a mayor looked like, it was definitely not short and female. It was like a tall guy with like great puffy hair. That was what I pictured. And in the year I was making my decision, had a tough year personally. I got divorced and had a baby in the same year, and I was unsure if voters would think someone could be a good mom and a good mayor at the same time. So I spent a long time hemming and hawing and deciding whether or not to run. I originally told everyone I wasn't going to run, and then changed my mind. And we had a great team of consultants on my campaign, but they said you have to talk all the time about all the child care support you have, and they wanted me to do a TV commercial where my parents talked about how they would help me be mom and mayor. And ultimately I decided just to lean into that I could do it, and I didn't spend a lot of time talking about child care, and the wonderful voters of Phoenix really paid more attention to the vision and the track record than that I was a divorced mom of a very young baby, which I think I'm so thankful to all of you who were willing to say it's not about your parenting status, but what you can do. And I think that's because we've had so many incredible women who've been business leaders, nonprofit leaders, and juggled family and gotten things done for this community. So to those of you who paved the way for me, I want to say thank you, and I hope that all of us together can pave the way for the next generation who might be juggling a few things and wanting to contribute to our community. Some of the things we are doing at the city to help with the juggle include investing in early childhood. So we've expanded our Head Start early childhood education programs beyond the federal program to make more people eligible. We're also investing in childcare scholarships for employees at Sky Harbor or our other airports. The airport is a 24/7 entity, and it is hard to be a parent and work some of those schedules, so we wanted to support our parents. All employees are eligible, so not just city employees, but the team who works at the airport. And that's been, I think, a good sign that we are trying to support parents in that area. We are also trying to help people who are juggling with their parents and provide more dementia care, including memory cafes where you can go and talk to other folks who are living with someone who has a dementia diagnosis, and people who are experiencing dementia get a chance to be with each other. My grandmother had dementia, and it was really hard for us to navigate that, so I hope we will invest in more community support going forward. The Commission's Vice Chair, Dr. Heather Ross, was particularly involved in creating that program, so I want to thank her for her effort and support. The Women's Commission has given us so many great ideas and is helping with us a variety of different programs. I hope among the future work we'll do together is making sure we have more high-wage career paths and more women in business leadership, including corporate boards. We want this to be a city for opportunity for all. I want to thank our Women's Commission Chair, Allison O'Toole, for guiding this incredible group of leaders, advocates, and supporters who are committed to taking on issues that face women at all ages and stages in their lives and careers. Your leadership for the past year and a half has been invaluable, and we want to, again, can we give a round of applause for our chairwoman? So I'll close again just by thanking our chair of this event, Commissioner Irby, as well as the entire Women's Commission, and then all of you for coming out to help us be a better city, a city that lives up to the promise of our name, where everyone can rise and do better together. Thank you again for having me.
A huge thank you to Mayor Gallego. Those amazing remarks. We deeply appreciate you so much. Allison O'Toole is our chairwoman. She is the Associate Vice President of Outreach ASU. Allison O'Toole is the first Arizona State University Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication and Arizona PBS Executive Director of Brand Engagement and Communications. O'Toole is a proven leader with 18 years experience in brand promotion, executive communications, and digital strategies. O'Toole previously served as the Executive Director for Corporate and Community Relations at the University of Arizona Health Sciences Office of the Senior Vice President. She was the founder of signature programs such as Connect to STEM, the largest youth STEM outreach event in Phoenix with 40,000 attendees over 7 years. She serves on the Downtown Phoenix Partnership, Inc., and Arizona School for the Arts Board of Directors. She is the co-chair of the Greater Phoenix Economic Council Health Innovation Committee and was appointed by the City Phoenix Mayor to the Phoenix Women's Commission in 2020. O'Toole holds a bachelor's degree in broadcast journalism from Bell State University and an executive MBA from the University of Arizona. She serves on the Phoenix Women's Commission to understand inequalities in our community and provide a collective voice to stimulate change to improve and enrich girls and women in Phoenix. Please put your hands together and welcome our chairwoman, Allison O'Toole, to the stage.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, you are awake back there. I don't know about you, but I just got goosebumps listening to Mayor Gallego. I think it's interesting to be able to hear from our leaders. We just think they appear on stage and they have it all together, and then to hear about the process of even having her run for mayor was really interesting and inspiring to me. So welcome. We're so glad that you're here today. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests and champions of equality, welcome to the She Matters Equity Forum, organized by the Phoenix Women's Commission. Today we come together to celebrate progress and discuss how each one of us can make a meaningful impact in our workplaces, schools, and community organizations. Together we can create a world where opportunities are truly equitable for all. I would like to offer tremendous thanks to Dr. Richard Daniel and his fantastic South Mountain Community College team for hosting us today. And I would also like to extend gratitude to Mayor Kate Gallego for supporting this event and for your inspirational words. It's been an honor to be able to serve as chair of the Phoenix Women's Commission for the last 2 years. The Phoenix Women's Commission provides advocacy, leadership, and support on issues facing women of all ages to enhance their quality of life. I invite you to now turn your attention to the screen to see our commissioner roster, and I would like our commissioners that are here today to please take a stand, turn around, and give a nice wave to everyone here. That's right. That's right. Cheer these ladies on. Absolutely. I'm hoping that you can recognize some of these names and then faces here. That way you can introduce yourself when we have our networking session. That's why we are here. We want to hear from you. We want to get to know you. So please come up and introduce yourself. All of our commissioners are volunteers. Yes, wow is right. We are volunteers because we believe in this work and we care about this work. So thank you for giving a proper applause to all of our commissioners because we represent diverse industries, perspectives, and backgrounds. The commissioners and I, over the last few months, have started to work on our 2023-2024 work plan, and we've selected 3 primary focus areas for that plan: pay equity, affordable childcare and education, and housing access. And here's the best part. We're just starting to work and understand how we're going to work through this new work plan. And so Commissioner Schmitz, I'll have you stand up for just a moment. We want to hear from you. So we have a breakout session that will be led by Commissioner Schmitz. She will be walking through, if you are passionate about one of these focus areas, if you work in one of these focus areas, this is where we're going to collect information from you to figure out what our next action steps will be in our work plan. So she will be leading one of our breakout sessions. I wanted to give her a plug there. Thank you. Our efforts to understand the breadth of these complex issues and their impacts on women is constantly evolving, and we're working as a commission to develop key activities with respect to policy, advocacy, and increasing awareness with these crucial issues. We invite you, like I said, to join us in this important work. Equity. What do you think of when you hear that word? It means something different to all of us. The definition of equity refers to fairness, justice, and impartiality in the distribution of resources, opportunities, and rights among individuals and groups. Equity acknowledges that different people may require different levels of support and accommodations to achieve equality. This work involves actively dismantling barriers, challenging biases, and actively promoting inclusivity to achieve a more equitable society. I had the pleasure of working at Phoenix Children's Hospital and the University of Arizona College of Medicine for a combination of 14 years. I think about all the patients and the families that I met. What does equity mean to them? Especially inside a doctor's office or inside a hospital? How can we ensure all patients receive quality, compassionate care? Now I'm working at ASU, and I oversee K-12 programming where we want to make sure that families are prepared for college. So now I'm thinking about equity in the classroom. How can we ensure that children and teachers receive the same level of resources, maybe that live in rural Arizona, compared to here in Phoenix. And I know each of you can think of similar examples of your line of work, whether it's at your child's school, where you're working at right now, or even just in the community at large. But picture this, a workplace where every individual is valued regardless of their gender. Picture this, a school where young minds thrive, free from bias and limitation. Picture this, a community that nurses inclusivity, ensuring that everyone has a fair chance to succeed. These visions can become a reality, and each of us holds the power to make a difference, no matter how big or how small, right? One child at a time, one family at a time, one event at a time. So you may be wondering, what can an average person like me and you do to promote equity? Well, it starts with awareness, acknowledging that an inequality exists and committing ourselves to change. So, step one, I want you to turn to your neighbor and you're going to repeat after me. Okay, look at your neighbor. Say, I acknowledge that inequality exists. I commit to change. Okay, now look at your other neighbor, because you got to get your other neighbor on the other side. You can't leave them hanging. All right, repeat after me. I acknowledge that inequality exists, and I commit to change. Let me give you a round of applause. Absolutely. There are 3 areas where we can make an impact: education, advocacy, and allyship. We have to educate ourselves and others about the challenges that women face, seek out resources, attend workshops just like the one you are today, so you get 2 gold stars for coming today because you are already in the work, doing the work, you are here. That's right, woohoo! I'm clapping for you again. And we also need to engage in open dialogue. By becoming informed, we become equipped to challenge stereotypes, biases, and discrimination. Education empowers us to speak up and advocate for equality. We have to amplify our voices and champion the cause for women's equity. Speak up when you witness inequality in your workplace, school, or community organization. We have to support policies and initiatives that promote diversity and inclusion. And by advocating for change, we create a ripple effect that can transform entire systems or institutions. I'm ready for the work. You ready for the work? All right, that sounds good. We also have to be allies, actively listening, supporting, and amplifying the voices of women. And we have to have the opportunity to change the status quo and uplift achievements and contributions of women. Allyship is not a one-time act, but rather a lifelong equipment to equality. Now, I understand the last few years have been a little rough for us in terms of women's rights, and we went through a global pandemic together, which disproportionately affected women. But I'm so glad that Mayor Kate Gallego listed the achievements, the success that's happening right here in the city. So let's also not forget there's been several significant highlights and achievements that we can all celebrate in regards to women's equity. We've witnessed a rise in assuming leadership roles in various fields. Kamala Harris became the first female vice president of the United States, breaking barriers and inspiring women worldwide. Similarly, more women are taking executive positions in companies, governments, and organizations, and contributing to a more inclusive, diverse workforce. And as Mayor Gallego also mentioned, we have a woman governor and a woman mayor, so it just feels good. Yeah, that's right. Let's also not forget about the #MeToo movement, which gained momentum in 2017 and created a global conversation about sexual harassment and assault. The movement empowered countless women to share their stories, experiences, which led to increased awareness, accountability, and efforts to address and prevent gender-based violence. There's also been a growing recognition and dialogue around gender pay gap, which we heard from Mayor Gallego, which refers to the disparity in earnings between men and women. This increased awareness has resulted in companies and governments taking action to address and narrow the gap, including implementing pay equity policies and transparency measures. Efforts to encourage women participating in science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, fields has gained significant traction. More initiatives are focused on providing educational opportunities, mentorship, and support networks for women interested in STEM careers, leading to a greater representation and inclusivity in a traditionally male-dominated fields. These highlights and achievements demonstrate the progress being made in advancing women's equity globally. While challenges still remain, celebrating these successes inspires us to continue to move the work forward into a future where gender equality is fully realized. Thank you to each and every one of you for being here today and for your dedication to women's equity. And I would just like to say a personal thank you to my number one woman, my mom, who's holding her phone up in the audience here. Yes, yes. She deserves all the credit and more, and was out here helping to get all of you registered and checked in. So thank you, Mom, for all that you do for allowing me to be here on stage. Love you. Okay, sorry, I just wanted to get that in. I want to make her feel appreciated. It's important to me. So together, let us turn these ideas into action and let's make a lasting impact. Thank you for being here. Now, it is my esteemed pleasure to introduce you to our keynote speaker this morning, Dr. Erin Carr-Jordan. Dr. Carr-Jordan is the president and CEO of the Digital Equity Institute and the executive director of the Digital Equity and Social Impact of ASU's Enterprise Technology Office. Throughout her career, her activities have lived in the intersection of academia, coalition building, advocacy, and impact. In her current role, Dr. Carr-Jordan leverages her business and academic experience to lead large-scale initiatives and to solve wicked problems, including reducing inequalities and achieving gender equity. Dr. Carr-Jordan is a member of the UN Women and is an executive representative to the United Nations Global Impact. Let's put our hands together for a warm welcome for our keynote speaker, Dr. Erin Carr-Jordan.
First, I wanted to say thanks so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Any opportunity to be in a room with smart and talented women and to learn from what everyone is doing and to get better at the thing that I do is a wonderful and tremendous opportunity. So please give yourselves a round of applause. So, all of the things that have been said previously, and I'm so grateful to Mayor Gallego, she's doing so much tremendous work in this space, is the concept of women being catalysts, right? Being the involved in, but I actually think that's the wrong way to look at it. I don't think women should just be involved in the work that we're doing. I think women should be the tip of the spear. I think we actually are the catalyst to achieving change. There's this river, my mom lives in Colorado part-time. There's this river that sits behind her house. And I've noticed that over the past year or so, it has gotten higher and higher, and the pace of it is moving more quickly. So when I look out, there's now whitecaps, where it used to be this very, very calm space. And I have 4 kids. And they used to run and jump and play, and the river was this great place that they really enjoyed being. And so where I used to never have concern about them going into this river, that was this peaceful space. Now I get a little bit worried because the river's running faster, it is higher, it is a little bit more dangerous. And I started to think, because I sit out there, it's supposed to be peaceful, right? And what was peaceful then turned into a little bit of a concern. I was like, oh, this is a metaphor for how things are going. Things are happening more quickly, right? Can you feel it? Like, this is an actual question. Can you feel the quickening pace of all of the things, right? And it feels, to me, and I'll only speak from my perspective, it feels a little nerve-wracking at times. it makes me a little bit uncomfortable. The pace at which we are expected to evolve and to do more and to grow capacity and to just be all the things feels like it's accelerating. And it's accelerating without my permission. I don't know if you feel that, and that's an honest question. Does it feel like that for you? I can't stop the river as much as I would like to. I have to figure out how to evolve and grow with the river. And more than that, I have to figure out, and you have to figure out, maybe not have to, that's not the right word, have the opportunity to figure out how to row with it and to be part of the acceleration and to somehow steer in a way that is both safe and productive and comfortable and okay, because a lot of the change is happening without our permission. And so figuring out how to get into the acceleration of the pace and be part of meaningful change is a challenge that we face every single day. So at least as I look at it, and as we begin this conversation today, that's sort of the lens that I want to look at it through, right? This acceleration that we can't do anything to stop, but we can certainly be part of it, and more importantly, I think we can lead it. And I have to walk, so forgive me. So please humor me for just one moment. And this is way more peaceful than the river, right? So and this is a safe room and a safe space. So close your eyes just for a minute. And imagine, if you will, what it would look like and what it would feel like if everyone were involved, if everyone had equal opportunity, if participation was fully diverse, if discovery could take advantage of all of the minds, what would that feel like? What would it look like? And just sit in that for a minute. How does it feel? Does it feel different than it does right now? You can open your eyes. Does it give you hope? Does it make you uncomfortable? Does it make you nervous? Does it make you joyful? It makes me joyful. It makes me incredibly excited because we're having conversations like this, where we're talking about that, because that should not be in the distant future. That, because of catalysts, the women, should be the right now. If we create the kind of space that we should absolutely be creating, then full participation would exist. Imagine the possibilities of discovery, all the things that are out there that could be explored, discovered, all of that. If all of the brilliant minds who are there and who have been excluded, who have been marginalized historically, were part of not just the conversation, but the driving forces behind it. That makes me incredibly excited. That's the stuff that gets me moving every single day, and that's the stuff that when I get to come and have these conversations, I'm like, isn't that fun? Isn't that the stuff that like you would like to see happen? Do you want to be part of that? Do you want to be the leaders of that? Are you those people? I think so, at least part of it. So I would hope that instead of when we close our eyes and try to find peace in the accelerating pace that's happening every single day, that we think about how do we ensure that the full participation, the full diversity of the human experience is driving, is steering the boat, is the ship that is moving us forward. Because then we actually accelerate in a way that's meaningful. Then we actually find solutions that are impactful because people tell us the full diversity was part of solutioning. That, to me, is the great opportunity that exists not only in this room, but around the country if we have the guts to lean into it and to meaningfully advance. I also want to be this woman who's just chilling on a mountain. So Allison mentioned earlier this idea of equity, and it's this very nebulous concept, I have to say. Like when we talk about equity, it means something internally to everyone, and we sort of live in it, marinate in it a different way. And I've had this conversation a lot, because equity is sort of what I do for a living. I spend my life every single day talking about digital equity and gender equality and gender equity and racial and ethnic equity and all of these things. And I hear all the time from people who are smart and talented people that they are interpreting the words differently. And so one of the things that we talk about quite frequently is this idea that language is the most important thing that we do. The words that we start with and the ability of us to level set around language and to begin reading the book from the same words it actually creates the opportunity for us to turn the page. Because if we're not reading from the same book, if we're not interpreting the words the same way, then we're not having the same conversation. So how can we move forward if we're only viewing through our own lens? So rather than trying to get people to use our definition, because my definition doesn't need to be your definition, my definition is my definition, we widen the aperture. And we allow for the words to mean all the things, and we figure out how to use language to level set in a way that takes advantage of and has room for all the things. So all of this is part of equity, right? If we don't have participation, if we're not advocating, if people aren't having access to skills and opportunity, if they're not inspired, if like all of the things, then we're not actually doing it, and we're not going to achieve the thing that we call equity as an outcome. So read this and see if any of these is what you think about. And if there's something, please shout out. This is the interactive portion of the morning. If there's something that's not on here that's part of your dialogue, please tell me, because we'll add it. Because we really do need to make sure that we're creating space and that all of the different ways that we're thinking about this are part of the conversation. Yeah, please.
I would say one of the issues that I'm trying to champion is that is accessibility.
Yes. That's not on there? Oh, it should definitely be on there. Thank you. Nice catch. Yeah. Thank you. Anybody else? Disruption. Yeah. I like that. I growled at you. Sorry. That's a really good one. Anything else? Voice. Yes. I should be writing these down. Hold on. All right, Heather, thank you. Okay, anybody else? Absolutely. I don't know about you, but moms, in my opinion, moms get things done. Like, moms are the people that if you have a deadline, I will call a mom every single day, because deadline, schmedline. And that's, I don't know if that's a good thing, to be honest with you. I'm actually wrestling with that. It's something that I am introspecting about, because moms are already doing a ton. It's just that they're great at multitasking, and they're great at deadlines, and they're great at making sure things are taken care of. And I so appreciate what you're saying. The intersectionality of all of this has to be front and center, because people don't exist in silos. People exist, and the way that they experience the world is through their lens, and their lens is always intersectional. Always. Thank you for that. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to leave out the dads. Absolutely. Absolutely. And you don't have to apologize for that. It doesn't break the pace. It's a really important element. And we are being inclusive. That's the pace of what we're doing. Anyone else? Justice, yes. How is that not on there either? Sharika, is that you? Yes. That's right. Woo! Okay. So because the concept of equity is so nebulous, I spend a lot of my time trying to figure out how to help people go from not understanding to understanding more, and then to create space for people to teach me. One of the best descriptions, and some of you may have heard this, and if so, bear with me, is this concept of equity in a Band-Aid. Sounds right? It sounds like something that makes sense. So if I point at you, would you please just, the first person I point at, you can say finger. And then the next person I point at, you have to say a different body part than finger, okay? Are you following along? This is either gonna go really well or just terribly. And if it goes terribly, please don't tell anybody. Okay, so, and the concept is basically that you're injured, right? So you're gonna tell me where it is that you're injured. So, where are you injured? You're injured in your throat, you were supposed to say finger. Your finger is hurt. Okay, come here. Okay, I have a Band-Aid. I'm gonna put a Band-Aid on your finger. Oh, I hope you feel better. You're so very welcome. Okay, where are you injured? Okay, come here, please. Give me your finger. Okay, here's your, there you go. Okay. Where are you injured? Your shoulder. Come here, please. Okay, give me your finger. I'm sorry that your shoulder is hurt, but there you go. That'll help you. Where are you injured? My head. Your head. Come here, please. Okay, let me see your finger. Okay, there you go. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Did we solve everyone's problem? No. Does everybody have a hurt finger? No. But the solution was all the same, right? Like it was that equity? No. I love this, by the way. This is a exercise that was taught by a teacher to her first grade class. And I love the way, teachers are just brilliant humans. Yes, please. And this teacher was trying to teach this to her kids, and she didn't explain it in any way the way that I did. She did a much better job, by the way. But she had all of her first grade class, the entire class, come up, and they each said something. Only the first person was allowed to say finger. And at the end of it, they were all very upset because they didn't understand why she would just give the same solution to everyone, right? Why she was only remedying the one person who had an injury on their finger. And they, by themselves, with no help from her, made the argument for equity. And then she watched over the course of that term, the students, be able to then teach it to others and to be able to describe and to use practices of equity. You okay? Okay, she's okay. And to be able to use principles of equity, that is a practice that will serve those kiddos and they will carry that with them throughout the entirety of their lives, I hope. I hope, because when you learn these things young, hopefully it becomes part of who you are as a human, and you take it along with you, right? So equity in a Band-Aid, right? Hopefully that helped. It's one of my favorite exercises. So in the world that I live in, most days, we talk about equity from a digital lens, right? So digital equity is defined, and I'm going to use the definition from a group called NTIA, which is a federal organization. They define digital equity as having the information technology capacity that you need to fully participate in every aspect of society, democracy, and the economy. Every time I say that, it feels like a lot. It is a lot, right? So that thinking about how things are going, imagining going back to that place where if we're just sort of thinking about everyone participating, this is that, right? Participating means that you have access to education. Like imagine the pandemic and the kiddos who couldn't go to school because they didn't have a computer, because they didn't have internet, right? So it's access to education. It's access to jobs. Imagine the parents, and I know you all know them, who couldn't go to work, who lost their income, who for all kinds of reasons who had their work disrupted and couldn't take care of their families, whose situations that might have already been challenging became even more challenging, right? That's digital equity. The services that we use every single day. Let's do a poll. Okay. If you use your phone for work, raise your hand. And if you're in the front, you can look around and see everybody behind you too. Okay, if you have a computer and you do work on your computer, raise your hand. Have you paid a bill using your computer or your phone in the last year? Do you stream TV shows ever? Stream music ever? Access your doctor? So if we think about all of these things, like make appointments, just generally make appointments. That one to me is always really important because it is so integral to being able to access the kind of care. Whoever said access earlier, there you go. Accessing the kind of care that you need to be able to thrive. I mean, at the end of this, the goal is to thrive. It's not just to be here, right? The goal is for everyone to have everything that they need to fully participate and thrive. It means you can take care of your family without worry. It means you can put food on the table without worry. It means that the things that you need to do for work, those are the things that you need to do for work, and then you do all the other things that make your heart happy, right? That's thriving. That's the kind of space that we want to create for humans. This, in the world of digital equity, if this makes sense, so the kind of person that you are, the way that you're experiencing the world determines the kind of solution that exists for you, right? And you can read this, I don't need to read it for you, but it has to be human-centered. It has to be designed to meet the needs of the people because the people said it was the way that they needed to engage with something. It can't be designed for, it has to be designed with. It has to be based on actual needs of humans who tell you that they have a need or you have the need. I'm saying this if that's othering, and I shouldn't do that. It is solutions for people based on exactly the need that any individual has or community has. And we talk about this a lot. And if you haven't heard of this yet, there is this thing that's coming down the pike in Arizona. It's from this big federal funding thing called IIJA, but it comes with $1 billion. It's a lot of money, like a B. That's so much money. And the money is earmarked for a few things. And I will briefly describe them to you. They are designed, which is why I was like, hey, access should be up there, because it's one of the key pieces. The money is designed to ensure that people have access to the internet, that they have the skills that they need to fully participate. And I'm going to expand on that just a little bit. Because when we think about skills, we can think about the basic things that someone needs to learn, right? So how to use a computer, how to turn it on, how to sign up for email, how to create an account for something, how to create passwords and protect your space, and how to engage in a safe and secure and meaningful way. That's all very important. When we think about skills, though, we have to think about the then what. Right? Because it's not just about going from not knowing to knowing more. Because people go from not knowing to knowing more really quickly, if you think about it, right? How long does it take you to learn something new? It's not that long. So we can't think about skill building through the lens of, okay, we're going to go from not knowing this basic skill to learning this basic skill, and then not have something that scaffolds upon that, and that is responsive to the evolution of change that's happening in technology and like human-centered design and all of these other things. We need to make sure that there is a trajectory that exists that goes from not knowing to having unlimited possibility in all of the ways, right? 21st century skill building. What does that look like? Those are tech skills. Those are human skills. Those are all the things that people need to do to be able to actually thrive. The evolution of every job of the person who's in here is part of that ecosystem, right? So skill building. Supports are tremendously important. We think about support from this idea of trust and feeling safe, right? Because who's familiar with the idea of persistence and resilience? Okay, persistence means that when things get hard, you keep going, right? And resilient means when it gets hard, you keep going and you keep getting up and all of those things. They're correlated concepts. But when you don't know something, and it's really uncomfortable and it's challenging, if you don't have persistence and you haven't built up resilience, you most often do what? Shout it out. Give up. Yep, quit. Why do you want to do that? It's hard, sucks, don't want to do it, right? So part of what we need to do is create really safe spaces where when it gets hard, people can ask for help. I want to be able to ask for help. My mom calls me to ask for help all the time. Like, I don't know how to do this, I broke the TV. All the time, every week. And when we talk about full participation, we mean full participation, everyone, regardless of their background, their zip code, their race, their ethnicity, their gender, their orientation, their LGBTQIA status, whether they're a veteran, have a disability, intellectual, physical, any of the ways. Systems and supports need to exist for everyone, for elderly people, the systems and supports have to be comprehensive, and they have to be based on trust, and they have to be judgment-free. And so building those ecosystems is for everyone in this space. How do you create space for other people to learn and grow in their skills in a way that, if it gets hard, you can help build persistence and resilience, and then people build confidence and comfort, and then there's efficacy, and then people are engaging in ways that are meaningful because they got that, you know what I mean? Like, it's good, like you grow in your confidence and you're feeling better. Devices, obviously, you can't engage in the internet if you don't have a device. And the device needs to be the right fit for the right person in the right moment. It's, if we don't want kids going to school on a phone, just as one example. So devices, right fit, computers, desktop, laptops, all the things. And so the funding, $1 billion, is coming in to support the building of internet in rural, remote, urban areas where people are underserved and lack access. The dollars are also going to places that are in urban areas where there is significant need, and need is defined in all kinds of ways. How am I doing on time? Am I over? I don't want to be over. Okay. And we talked about this already. The ecosystems that are important here, it's jobs, it's healthcare, it's education, it's services, but more importantly, it's people. If you hear people talking about ecosystems and they fail to mention the people, the actual humans, humans are the ecosystem. We are the ecosystem. The people that are experiencing this life and going through all of these things, this is us. These are not some abstract things that should be happening to people. It should be driven by us, right? Women aren't just participants. We are the tip of the spear. And how to engage all of the humans and create space for all of the people to fully and meaningfully participate and have access to all of these things. None of this should be, people should not be excluded from access to this, because when you're excluded, you don't thrive. Okay, creating space, and I'm going to move really quickly. Women have power skills. I fully believe this thing. It's called power skills. Some people used to talk about them like socio-emotional skills or soft skills. I think that was a purposeful naming going back to language to devalue the importance of these skills. They are not soft. They are not squishy. They are not socio-emotional, although they are. But by wording them in that way, by describing them, they become less important than all of these other technical skills. And everyone in this room knows this. The technical skills are most closely affiliated with men. And the soft skills are most closely affiliated with women. So we need to reframe this idea that the skills that are actually incredibly challenging, the working with human skills, the power skills, they are power. They are like, hurrah. Those are the important things. And having the technical skills is equally important, but actually being able to work with, understand, and create space for humans, that is the real power. That is where power is derived and how we create opportunity for ourselves and for others. And what is the catalyst, right? It is the catapult, even, for change. The other thing that's so important and brilliant about women, did I say the first place? So I said the other thing that's important and brilliant about women. I just think women are brilliant, so we'll start there. So women are these amazing humans. For so long, we have been positioned or societally positioned to be combative and like to compete, right? And competition, while it can be healthy, it actually impedes progress. It often means that instead of collaborating with others to discover, to navigate, to explore, to ideate, to all the good things that potentially lead to something super cool, that we're instead limited. We're acting in silos, and we're continuing to perpetuate this sort of, I'm going to be over here in my lane thing. And that doesn't lead to change. So instead, this idea of power skills, the ability of women to work with one another, to look to the side and say, hey, I'm doing this thing, but I need my help. This is outside of my skill set, and that's fine. But it's well within your frame. Can you help me? Like do you remember old furniture, not new furniture, like old furniture that had the nicks, the dovetails? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, thank you, the good stuff. So when those two joints go together, when they dovetail, right, the strength of that is just phenomenal. So what we talk about in power skills is how do we dovetail all of this stuff together? Because when we dovetail it, we create strength. And that's locking arms with the women who are around you. It's creating communities of practice. It's looking around and networking. And I think right after I'm done talking, which I think I'm way over and I'm apologizing and I'll move really quickly, is the networking. It's finding a mentor, being a mentor. It's creating space, like purposefully creating space. Instead of saying, this is mine, I want to own, like I can do this. That is so limiting. It's limiting to self. It's limiting to the people around you. It impedes this beautiful thing that's coming down the pike. And if we're all involved in it, we have this opportunity to be the kind of change that can come with $1 billion if people are leveraging dollars to ensure that space is created. And if women, again, are not just involved but the tip of the spear, the likelihood that we actually get to the point of change, that full participation, that full opportunity for discovery, that makes me really happy. And the issues that are so important to this, Mayor Gallego touched on, Allison touched on, everyone you're going to talk about today, all of it means that you have to confront implicit bias. You can't be an ally, you have to be a co-conspirator. It has to be an everyday thing to say, wait, who's not in the room? Who's not at the table? I shouldn't be driving this, they should be driving this, right? Thinking about the with, the who should be part of decision making and making sure that it isn't limiting. because so often things are created and we have historic norms that are inherently limiting. If you go back and you close your eyes again and you think about all of the things that are possible, what it looks like from change, like what have we built? What have we discovered? Where have we traveled? What are the ecosystems? Like what does it look like if purposefully disrupting? Not just saying, I'm gonna change this thing, this policy sucks, like, but purposefully disrupting, right? Like locking arms, dovetailing skills, making sure that we're walking and rowing down in that boat, despite the fact that the waters are moving faster and that they're not necessarily in our control. They are absolutely things that are within our control and we can be part of. I firmly believe that everyone has a superpower. If you've ever heard me speak before, you've probably heard me say this. So, I want you to do me one thing. This is the last slide. Think about yourself. Just be contemplative for one moment. And think about the thing that you do that is awesome. Like the thing that you are exceptionally good at. It does not have to be, by the way, your job. Most often we think about, like, what's the thing that I do in my job that I'm really, really good at? It doesn't have to be that. Think about the thing that you do. What is your superpower as a human? Like, as a woman, what do you kick ass at? Sorry about the language. And just think about how you can find that, harness that, use that as your dovetailing skill to make this meaningful change. And if you write that down, I collect these usually at every event. I bring index cards and usually I do it like that. But I would love for you to write it down. Actually think about it. Like, what is my superpower? Because that contribution of your superpower is the way that we actually get where we're going. It's that scaffolding. It is the catapulting into the next space. So leverage your superpower. Be agents of change. Conquer equity and be part of driving forward despite the fact that the pace is accelerating. Thanks so much for inviting me. I really appreciate it.